Good morning and welcome to TSLNIGERIA TV, Politics and Power. We are back again this day, Wednesday, and there are so many issues to talk about today. I'm your regular host, Okpere, and today we'll be looking at the issues that are trending in Nigeria today, particularly the issues of oil thefts, the issues of people getting awards, all sorts of awards that was flying around yesterday and all of that. And then so many other issues around the politics of Nigeria and around the elections that are coming in February of 2023. As we count down to the elections, we are starting to talk about the major issues, the issues that will define Nigeria's election in 2023 and that will define the country, talking about where Nigeria is today and where the country want to be in the next 4 years and who will pilot the affairs of this country in the next 4 years. Remember when the previous administration came on board, there was a lot of hue and cry about the theft of oil in Nigeria and about the stealing of our natural resources. Let me give you a clearer picture right now. Some time ago, the NNPC said that over 4 trillion naira of oil, crude oil, is stolen annually from Nigeria. That's 4 trillion. That's 2 times our capital budget for the year 2022. That's a very serious situation that we are facing in the country. To discuss these issues and look at every other issues that we'll be looking at today, I have a distinguished gentleman here with me, my brother, my friend, Barrister Andrew Idugboe. It's good to have you.
It's a pleasure being here.
You're looking very good.
Thank you.
So let's start with the issue of oil theft in Nigeria. You can see the volume of oil that is stolen in Nigeria. We saw recently that a vessel was caught in the Niger Delta and it was set ablaze. And also a pipeline was discovered that has been there since for 8 years or 9 years now, that these vandals or criminals have been using to steal our resources for so long. And a lot of people are pointing that the government of the day has a hand in it, that all this criminality cannot be going on in the Niger Delta without the government, without the security agencies having a role to play in it. So what are your opinions on that?
It's such a sad situation. Like you mentioned some moments ago, you said that about 4 trillion naira, which is twice GDP.
Twice our capital budget.
Yes. It's very unfortunate. And like you rightly said, it's true that the government and the security agencies have a part to play. Now, why do I say so? We know that when it comes to intelligence, when I say intelligence, I mean everything going on in the country. The government has an ear to every single thing that is going on in the country. Now, for those things that are not located and picked out is because they've decided to close their eyes to that. Now, it's obvious that we have people in the high echelon of society that are linked to these vessels, that are linked to these pipelines, these hidden pipelines and all that. So it's obvious that the government is aware, and it's obvious that the security agencies, they are aware, and they've chosen to, close their eyes to it. I'll give a very vivid description of what I mean. Today, when we go around Edo State, for example, every corner, for every 10 feet we move, we see POS machines where, individuals withdraw money and they pay a commission to withdraw money. Now, which people, give out these POS machines? We've learned from sources that it's those that work in the bank. Then, in return, or should I say, for what they benefit from running these POS machines, they now make our ATM machines not to function.
Redundant.
Yes. So that individuals will now go to the POS machines
And patronize them.
to patronize them. It's almost the same thing that we're talking about here. So because of what they stand to gain, they would throw a blind eye to these, illegal pipelines and illegal vessels. So obviously they are aware, yes, we don't have the facts to say so now because they know how to cover their tracks, so to speak. But it's obvious they are, part of it.
Okay, so if we, let's look again at the vessel that they recently that was recently burnt in the Delta. I watched a video yesterday where a lady was lamenting seriously that they arrested a vessel, and instead of investigating, because you can't just conclude that somebody was stealing oil and just burn a vessel. The vessel we're talking about is maybe a vessel that is as long as 50 meters. So that's a very big vessel. And they burn it without consideration to the environment. And it was laden with crude oil. Yes. They burnt the crude oil, burnt it, releasing dangerous fumes into the atmosphere. And she was lamenting that most of the children in the village there, they've been coughing, and some of them are coughing blood because of the fumes that they inhaled. Do you think that our approach generally in the way we handle issues like this, relating to fighting crime around the oil industry or around the oil market in Nigeria, that we've been approaching it the right way?
When I first saw the video, the first thing I asked was, why was the vessel set ablaze? It's such a barbaric and out of protocol manner to approach that situation. The customs, for example, the way they operate, when they, seize vehicles, yeah, they keep them. Yes. They have warehouses where they are stored and kept pending investigation, yes, so to speak, to make sure that the documents by which these vehicles were brought into the country are valid. Then you release them. Now, to catch a vessel that you claim is an illegal vessel in the Delta, and then at that very moment setting it ablaze, I just think it is very unprofessional and against the protocol, or the against the protocol of how the police should operate, or the security agency. Now, for one, it's funny, if I can put it like that, to see now that is when a core player in oil in the Niger Delta was appointed, a security consultant to these issues. That is when hidden pipelines, vessels are not being discovered. Oh, what a coincidence. Yeah. Now, it's very funny. And it's so sad because those that are not involved illegally will suffer for it. Though the investigations are not out now, the final report is not out, so we cannot conclude that that vessel is actually one of the legal ones, but in time we will know. But what I'm trying to say is that those that have the biggest vessels, those that have the hidden pipelines that are actually transporting crude that is making Nigeria have a deficit, those pipelines and those vessels will never be discovered. It's the little ones, it's the small ones that they can do away with that will be discovered. Why? Because one of the ringleaders is the contracted security personnel. So going further, I would like to also see how many vessels and how many pipelines will be uncovered in the next days, weeks, months. Then we will actually know if they are trying to make a jest of the whole situation, or they are trying to play Nigerians one more time as they normally do and as they've done in the past. So for that particular vessel, like we said earlier, the approach and the manner in which they went about it was completely wrong. Completely wrong. It shows that they are very unprofessional and they are not playing to the book, not acting to the book, how the law, has said these things should be done.
Exactly.
That is how you know that thugs are in power. So it's just very
So
unfortunate.
let's look at that issue that was trending yesterday. It's the issue of the national awards. You know, the president was on ground by himself in Abuja to dish out awards to people who are deserving of awards. I per se, um, I have nothing against giving awards to people who are deserving of awards or who have served the country meritoriously and deserve some kind of honor. But today, right now, as we speak, we know the situation of Nigeria.
Of course.
Our students are at home for going to 8 months, schools, and one is forced to ask, what are these awards for? You can barely travel from one state to another without the fear of being kidnapped. Outside being kidnapped, you can barely even travel from one state to the other without the fear of the conditions of our major roads. Yesterday, somebody called me from the US and said, oh, he wanted me to do a job for the person that requires me to go to Onitsha to go and buy some stuff for the work. And I said, well, Onitsha is the only place I can just manage to travel right now by road, probably because the road is still manageable.
Yes.
But 90% of the roads, particularly in the south or this south, have totally collapsed. And here you have the same southern leaders who have done nothing, absolutely nothing to fix this country, are being celebrated, are being given all sorts of awards. And you are forced to ask this question that is begging, what for? So let me get your opinion on that, sir.
Okay, firstly, I would like to point out that, not everyone who was awarded by the president yesterday is undeserving.
Okay.
Now, there is a select few that,
I agree with that.
of course, deserving of the award. But in a nutshell, the president has the right to give these awards under, I think, Section 2J and 4 of the Presidential Honors Act. And it is his sole prerogative
Of the
to
president.
give, as the president,
Yeah.
yes, to give whoever he wishes. Now, in the past, or the administrations before that of President Muhammadu Buhari, I remember when he came into power, he, criticized the manner and the frequency in which these awards were given in previous administrations. And he hasn't given any during his 8 years, if I'm not mistaken, not that I've heard of anyway. But he hasn't given out these awards until now. Good and good enough. Now, what is called into question? Maybe not necessarily the recipients of these awards, but the situation the country is in at this particular time, now that these awards are being given. It's not over-exaggerated to say that he's just trying to make his bed very comfortable now that he has, 8 months to live. And that is exactly what he's doing. It's very comical to see that all of a sudden his advisors are beginning to advise him well, now that he just has 8 months to go, after leaving the country in disarray. I watched a documentary the other day where a young man went on one road in Delta State where the commuters were complaining that they've been on the road in an hold-up for 7 days. It's the same thing as the Auchi Expressway.
Yes.
I just came from there yesterday, and it's exactly the same thing. I was supposed to travel on Saturday, and I had to delay my journey for 3 days because I had to find the best time to travel. The first time, me and my wife, we went halfway. We had to return back just because the roads were not good. Now, not insecurity anymore, just because the road is not good. And it's very sad. That's to show you how ineffective the government is, even to the grassroots, even to the lower levels. In Benin here, the roads are also bad. And we see that it's private individuals that get on the road, young men that are looking for daily bread, to break stones, fix the road, and actually see something to eat. And it's very sad. It's a tragedy, to say the truth. Now, you have called these people who you have colluded with, so to speak, to leave this country in the situation that it is right now, and you are beginning to give them awards. You are beginning to give them awards. And it's,
we saw governors, some governors who have not been able to pay salaries.
Of course.
Getting awards on national TV. What message are you giving out?
Of course. I took pains to go over the list of over 440 something of them. And most of the names you see there, you just but laugh at those names.
Exactly.
And you know that it's just a way of him rewarding his co-conspirators and his supporters. And it's just a shame. Then again, it's his prerogative to give those awards.
Okay, we'll come back to that issue. But let me emphasize once again that the opinions and views shared on this program, as we always say, are those of the guests, and it does not represent TSL Nigeria TV or our opinion. We'll be looking at some of the comments that we'll get in today on our live chats. And we encourage you to always go to our YouTube page and share your opinion with us. You can be part of the conversation. You can join us and express your opinion as well, so that we can all have these conversations about our country. And also, we are open to adverts. We're open to sponsorship as well. So if you want to place an advert on our show, you want to sponsor our show, please, at the end of this program, you'll see the numbers on the screen. Just give us a call and or go to our page and just private DM us, and we'll take your advert, we'll take your sponsorship on this program. So I'll be reading out some of the comments that we've had so far, so that we can have these conversations together. There's a comment from Matilda. He says, might sound so indifferent, but Nigeria has so much to do and they focus on so many irrelevant things. So burning the vessels is helping our nation get better or what? Because I can't even understand. Okay, I guess that's what she wants to say. You know, that's back to the issue of the burning of the vessel. You know, a lot of Nigerians cannot understand the rationale behind taking that kind of decision. And it's really hard to come to terms with it, to see how something like that cannot be explained as maybe some kind of cover-up or some kind of collusion with the criminals to burn evidence. Because we see a lot of burning in Nigeria. They say somebody present your primary six certificate, the next day the Ministry of Education gets burnt down. They say, oh, rats and cockroach swallowed 36 million, and the next day the building is on fire. You see this, and the next day the response to it is always, we put fire on everything. And the country today, we cannot deny it, that Nigeria is at a crossroads. We are a country right now that if urgent steps are not taken, we are sitting on the keg of gunpowder. We all saw the issue of NSAS. We saw it. It took just a little thing to trigger NSAS, and NSAS was almost becoming a revolution. People who were frustrated, people who were hungry, people who felt that their lives have not made any progress under this nation rose up, and you could see that the police were overwhelmed. I was in Benin. I saw how the police in Benin, they were overwhelmed. My office is very close to a police station. The day or so after, I saw police officers who couldn't come to work. Many of them had to take off their uniforms. Yes. So imagine if something like this happens and the army is also affected, or they go hiding. Do you think that the government can continue? You know, so this is why we are thinking, or we are having this conversation to look at what do you think that Nigeria should do? What do you think that are the steps that Nigeria should take to address some of these challenges that the country are facing, or the new leader that will be elected in 2023? What steps are you proposing that he should take to fix the current problems that we're facing in Nigeria today?
Okay, first of all, like you mentioned, we as a people, we need to vote wisely. That cannot be overemphasized. It cannot be stressed enough. We really need to vote wisely. Not that we know it all. Not that we can guarantee that if a particular party and a particular individual is elected, he will be the revolutionary, it will change. But it is the first step. It is the first
But people say their votes don't count. That's the fear everywhere. People say their votes don't count. A lot of people who think that they'll just go, it's just a process that they just participate in, but at the end of the day, the votes will not count.
I think this time around, people will pay close attention to it. You know, the level of political awareness going around, especially in the youth, as in is unapologetic. And this time around, people are really eager to see how far steps are taken to protect their votes. Now, it's going to be a different scenario where, you know, I know nowadays people are saying, a lot of people are saying the numbers of people that are coming out to you know, go on this march, most of them are not registered voters. But who told you they are not? Who told you they are not? I remember when the mass registration for PVCs was not the last time. I know a number of people that came out to it, though I had mine before then, but I took my wife to these different stations, and it was, sometimes, my wife's one, it took about 3 days to get it done because of the number of people. So this time around, we are ready.
But we've all seen elections in Nigeria, and we all know what happens on election day. Many of the young people who you and I agree today that are the victims of the underdevelopment of Nigeria today, many of the young people who are bearing the brunt of the poverty in Nigeria today, they are the ones who will still go to the field that day and collect money. We saw it in Ekiti, where 2 young girls were doing live video celebrating that they got 10,000 naira from the field. So what is the hope that all these registrations, all these young people that have come out to register, that they will not go to the field that day and just collect 5,000 and go and vote the same very people who have put us in this situation that we are facing today?
Yes, that's a very major scare, definitely, because of what people are passing through. Yes, the enticement of money might make them change their mind. I was even sitting in a panel recently in the NBA conference where I saw a particular young man was actually, you know, impressed with what Shetima said from questions that were asked to him in the conference, and he actually was reconsidering, saying that he wants to, you know, now support APC. Fine and good, but what I'm confident about is that the numbers of those that will be willing to collect money on that day wouldn't be as much as those that are ready to vote their hearts, yes, and vote their conscience. Now, we are not saying that, okay, money is not going to flow on that day, and we're not going to say that they are not going to try to corrupt the process, but now they are going to be overwhelmed by the numbers.
Are you hopeful, looking at the aspirants or the candidates that you're seeing from the major political parties and all other political parties, both the major and the minor, the candidates that they've presented, are you hopeful? Are you looking at them and say, okay, I see hope looking at these people? Because there are some times where you see in some countries where they present candidates, and when you look at all the candidates, you say, you don't even know who to vote for, because you feel like they are all qualified, and you see hope in all of them. When you look at the caliber of people who have presented themselves to be president of Nigeria, and also governors of many of the states, are you seeing hope in the next 4 years?
To tell you the truth, I'm seeing a lot of hope.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of hope from all three too. No, I'm not.
That's the PDP,
yes, both
the
PDP,
APC, and the Labour.
Yes, though in percentage, one is better than the other.
We would like to hear know those numbers.
And for one, I think Atiku is a good candidate.
Okay.
He's a very good candidate. The man is a very pragmatic man. We have seen what he has done in the past. Now, Obi is also one that is also very pragmatic. It's good that you, as a candidate, you have actually done the research and you have the numbers. It gives you a platform on where to start from.
Yes.
Changing the numbers, because numbers don't lie.
That's true.
So that's one reason. And one of the other reasons is because we want difference. We want difference. Atiku has done it before. So we know what is coming to do again. We just want something different. We want something different.
Okay, so the final question will be on the issue of the security agencies, the whole process of the election with INEC, and everything that has to do with this election. Looking at where INEC is coming from, look at the elections they've conducted. Yesterday I read something about this bimodal voting system, which means there will be a very serious biometric accreditation for people before people are permitted to vote. Do you think that with the innovation INEC have introduced that we'll get this election completely right this time around? Which means Nigerians will vote and the votes will reflect the will of the Nigerian people.
Yes, the idea behind it is actually very good. It's coming from the right place. The idea behind it, if it is implemented to 100%, it should actually guarantee free and fair elections. But the problem we have always have before time is, are they going to be able to set up these things on time, and are they going to work effectively? Is one of the problems we have always been facing in Nigeria. Technology. Now you have chosen to make the elections a one that has to do with biometrics and everything, but do you have the instruments in place
to implement it?
Perfect condition, because it's going to be a big
challenge.
Yeah. If elections are set to start at 9 o'clock, for instance, and at 2 o'clock you're still trying to set instruments up, we're going to see that a lot with this bimodal process that they are going to implement. Now we're going to see it a lot, and I think it's also a way for those that are not thinking right for Nigeria to act.
Okay, thank you. So before we go, I'll quickly go back to our comment session again and just take 1 or 2 comments, and because we're almost out of time, we have a comment from Becky Erewele. She said Jakba is the only way. I'm sure she's making reference to the mass immigration or immigration out of Nigeria is currently going on, which is what people describe as a brain drain. And then there's another comment from Mr. Kere Modukpe. It says, I think I deserve that award, but the highlight of the day is the way the co-founder Paystack dressed for the event. Even Baba Hill. That's funny. And Ebusogi Omorodion said, God, I beg you. And Johnson Osaze says, it is safe to say oil theft are done by those in the government. Well-organized oil theft can only happen within the system because there are standard ways to detect oil theft, like pressure drop, fluid, and velocity. So I think he is speaking from a more technological part of that aspect. But unfortunately, that's all we can take today. I want to thank you once again for coming. It's always a good pleasure to have you, and I enjoyed the conversation with you today. So we'll be back here again on Monday. As we're approaching the elections, we are trying to bring in a lot of people who are contesting so that they can come and share with us their ambitions and their dreams for us, for this country, and for their constituencies. So you keep an eye on us. You'll be seeing somebody from your constituency in this program very soon, and you might have the opportunity to ask that question that you cannot ask the person on ground. You can have the opportunity to ask the question. So all you need to do is just go to TSL Nigeria TV on YouTube and click our notification, click follow, so that you can follow the page and get notifications on our programs and all of that. And like I said before, we are now open to sponsorship. So if you want to sponsor your business, you want to sponsor an advert in our program, we are open to sponsorship. Just click on the link below your screen and follow our page, and you can send us a DM. Or you'll see the numbers will be displaying on your screen shortly. Just call those numbers and you'll be attended to. Till we come back again on Monday. Have a good week. Bye-bye. you.